Kokomo is the latest Indiana city to enact an LGBT anti-discrimination law. Many cities and towns have taken on the issue and passed their own non-discrimination ordinances in the absence of any statewide protections. Sarah Whitmire reports.
The council voted 5-4 last week to approve the measure on first reading. It was put on the schedule for council members to approve at their Monday meeting this week. Council President Bob Hayes says that's when the phone calls and emails started flooding in.
I've learned over the years as an elected official to develop a thick skin, but when I get emails invoking my dead mother and saying that my mother's weeping in her grave because I'm taking a stance, you don't know my mother. She'd say, "Attaboy, go get it. Speak your mind. For or against." And I hope we haven't come to the point where we cannot agree to disagree in a civil manner without intimidation and in some cases outright bigotry.
The majority of folks who testified at Monday's meeting were against expanding the city's human rights ordinance to ban discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity.
Because tonight this is not about discrimination. This is about shoving an ordinance down some people's throats. And that's what they don't like.
Opponents held signs urging the council to vote no. They wanted the council to wait and not rush into making a decision.
When Judas went before the Sanhedrin, he went before a council. They paid him 30 pieces of silver to turn Jesus over. They crucified Jesus. Listen to me. You think about this. Don't let your vote go the way the Pharisees did.
But when Hayes called the measure for a vote,
all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Would the clerk please call roll?
The council again voted 5-4 in support of it. The standing room only crowd immediately started filing towards the exits of the council chambers.
We love everybody. We do love the LGBT community. This was not against them. Our opposition to this ordinance was not against them personally. We just felt like it was bad legislation.
LGBT residents will now be protected from discrimination in a number of areas, including housing, employment, and education.
You know, the mayor said he was going to get this done, and we need it here in our community because there are so many LGBT here in our community, and a number of us have lost jobs or have not had housing or something, and we needed to get this passed so that nobody has that fear of not having a job someday, all because of their lifestyle.
Daryl Blasius has lived in Kokomo with his husband Bruce since 1965. The mayor married them.
More of the cities that pass these ordinances is going to force the state to also come along and promote the same thing.
That's something lawmakers agree is likely to happen too. Senate GOP leader David Long authored this year's LGBT bill, and he says as more local communities enact their own LGBT rights measures, it will put more pressure on the legislature.
As that evolves, I think it'd be easier for the state to consider saying, well, maybe just one law makes sense rather than 50 different ones.
Kokomo Mayor Greg Goodnight signed the ordinance into law within hours of the council approving it, but opponents say they're not giving up their fight.
You know, we may have lost tonight, but we have a right. We're American citizens. I'm a Vietnam veteran.
Cornelius says they're working to regroup, strategize, and unite behind a leader who can ultimately replace Goodnight and overturn the measure. For Indiana News Desk, I'm Sarah Whitmire.
In addition to sexual orientation and gender identity, the amendment also adds age, marital status, and veteran status to the Civil Rights Ordinance.